What is going on, Niner fans? As you know, we got some bad news today. We're going to talk about it. There's always bad news with the 49ers. We're going to talk about what happened today at practice, the news about Brock Purdy. Before we do, check it out. We got some new shirts that are available in Rita Oaks merchandise shop. I put the link in my Instagram bio, and it's in my story. These shirts, we got Fred Warner, we got the George Kittle, and I'm wearing the Christian McCaffrey. Shirts are fresh. I got a Brock Purdy one we made last year, but we collabed. We made these shirts, and we released the new ones. So check it out. If you want some new Niner gear, go check out Rita Oaks shop and buy some of these new collabs. These are sweet, man. I love these shirts. So how are we doing? How are we feeling? How are we doing? Today, there's a lot of stuff going on, but biggest news of the day was Brock Purdy. He did not practice, and his chances of playing on Sunday are a long shot. That's what Kyle Shanahan says. He says that it's a long shot for Brock Purdy to play on Sunday, and he might miss multiple weeks, is what he says. There is a chance that he could miss multiple weeks. He has a toe injury. He has a shoulder injury. Not good. I mean, at the end of the day, they do have Mac Jones, and everybody was saying, that's a guy that everybody feels could step up and, help the team in case of emergency, right? So we're going to see what Mac Jones is made out of. So Brock Purdy's toe injury happened in the second quarter when he was scrambling, and Julian Love tackled him near the sideline, according to Kyle Shanahan. So there was a play where he was scrambling, and he got tackled on the sideline, and I got to go rewatch the film tonight and check it out. I just got home, so I want to see exactly what happened. But, man, that's frustrating that Brock Purdy hurt the toe. He says the toe is worse than the shoulder. Shoulder's non-throwing injury, so that's the good news about that. But Brock Purdy not going to practice, probably not going to play against the Saints. I think the Niners can beat the Saints, but now if you don't have them against Arizona and you don't have them against the Rams potentially, and you don't have them against the Jaguars, these are tough games. You got to have your quarterback. But I know Mac Jones understands the system, and he understands, Kyle Shanahan's offense, because this is a guy that Kyle wanted for many years. Now we get to see what Mac Jones can do for Kyle Shanahan with him probably playing. So Mac Jones and cheese, we trust. Danny says, we're healthy, boys. Raj last week. Danny's never going to let that one go, because last week I said we're healthy. We got a squad. We're healthy, baby. And it lasted for like 3 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. I don't know. But Danny's going to remind me all season long that I said we were healthy. It didn't happen for too long. But we were at one point. We were, Danny. Oh, man. Danny says it was adrenaline that had Brock playing the full game. Had to be, because he got injured in the second quarter. And, that's what is crazy about this injury. If you really think about it, Brock Purdy got hurt, right, in the second quarter. And, he threw those picks and stuff, but he still led this team back. There was no Brandon Ayuk, obviously, that game. No Juwan Jennings. No George Kittle in the fourth quarter. And he orchestrated a game-winning drive with the bum, left non-throwing shoulder, with the messed up toe. That's pretty impressive, man. And they were coming at him, and he was trying to figure out who the hell he's got to throw to. Jake Tonjes, right? The fourth down play to CMC, extending the play. He did so good. And that Jake Tonjes touchdown, the Los Gatos leap. I mean, Brock was scrambling. There was a video that Guy Haberman posted where Brock's going to the left. It's like a 22 film version. Brock's going to the left, and he's looking for CMC. CMC's like, I'm out of bounds. Don't throw it here. And Brock waves him off, and he goes and he finds, he scrambles, and he finds Tonjes, throws it where he could get it. That's a crazy play. He highlighted the little arrow of CMC waving him off. That's pretty good awareness. In that short amount of time, to have the awareness to do that is pretty insane. So, and he did it with injury. So it's going to be weird, man, without Brock. I love my boy Brock, but I think we could win some games with Mac Jones. Juwan Jennings, right? He's going to probably play this weekend is according to Kyle Shanahan. The reports yesterday, but, we'll see. He has a chance to play, is what Shanahan said on Monday. So we'll see how that goes. Kendrick Bourne was back with the Niners, looked very happy, looked excited. He says, whatever they got me to do, I'll do. He has played with Mac Jones. So if anything, Mac Jones and Kendrick Bourne, that connection might be able to rekindle itself. When Mac Jones was a rookie, Kendrick Bourne was one of his receivers. So they got some chemistry. They were throwing They were playing catch today. They were practicing a little bit. There was a clip of, Mac and KB doing their thing. So good to see it. Kid says, I was really hoping to buy a Lenore jersey. I was too. I was actually so bummed out this morning when I went to go buy the jersey. The new Nike rivalry jerseys. I'm sure many of you guys bought your jerseys. They didn't have a Lenore jersey. What the F? They didn't have a Diamond Lenore jersey. They had Ricky Persall. They didn't have Diamond Lenore. I was like, come on, man. That's the one I absolutely wanted. Like, I wanted the two. That looked so clean to me. So I ended up getting a Nick Bosa. But I was definitely upset that I didn't get a Diamond Lenore jersey. So, yeah. My man Mike says he's flying from New Jersey to NOLA. Let's go, man. How do I feel? Mike wants to know, how do I feel about this Sunday? I still feel pretty confident. I feel like the Niners defense is fantastic, so I'm not too worried there. That defense is only going to get better. I think we could win. New Orleans isn't, a scary team right now. They're a team that's trying to rebuild and figure their identity out. I think it'll be a tough game because it's a road game. It's a 10 a.m. start. 10 a.m. starts on the West Coast here are rough, man. That time change is not going to be great for the 49ers. So don't sit there and think it's going to be easy. That time change can creep up on you. But I think the Niners will win. I think Mac Jones can do enough for the 49ers to win. He'll manage the game. Christian McCaffrey, healthy. They'll have Juwan Jennings, Ricky Persall, and somebody will have to step up. So we'll see. And Ricky, maybe Kendrick Bourne will do something. Now, the interesting thing was the 49ers did have to, they wanted to sign a tight end and a quarterback. They signed a tight end, Messiah Swinson. They actually did a bunch of workouts with a whole bunch of tight ends today, and they ended up getting Messiah Swinson. He used to play on the Packers. I don't know anything about this guy. Who? Messiah Swinson. They signed him to the practice squad, and they worked out Mike White. Okay, they gave him a tryout. The Mike White. Yes, Mike White. You remember Mike White, superstar, Jets, former quarterback. And Robert Saleh knows a little bit about Mike White, so he'll probably bring him in, and he'll be QB3. Now, people are saying, well, Mac Jones are QB1 if Brock Purdy goes down. But yes, if Mac Jones is playing QB1, you need a QB2. And Mike White, if they sign him, will be QB2. So I'm pretty sure they'll sign Mr. Mike White tomorrow and bring him on board. So maybe tonight, maybe we'll get some breaking news about Mike White. But they did bring him in for a tryout. The 49ers definitely need an extra quarterback just in case Mac Jones gets hurt and you have a third quarterback to have. So we'll see. How long do you think? AJ says, how do I think Purdy will be out? Honestly, they haven't really disclosed what the injury is. So judging on what he said a few weeks, I feel that he's going to be out until week 5. We play the Rams. I think he's going to miss this week. I think he's going to miss next week against Arizona and potentially the Jaguars game. I think he'll come back for the Rams. That's what I think. But again, I don't know his diagnosis. I haven't seen any imaging studies or any of that stuff. So really can't pinpoint that. But I do think we're going to miss him for, Kyle said, a couple of weeks, man, multiple weeks. I think game 5 against the Rams will be when he comes back. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I don't want him to be missing any time. So have no fear. Mac is here. My man Nathan says, if we lose games because of Mac Jones until Brock comes back, I want the apologies for Brock to be made. Mac is good, but he ain't no Tom Brady. He's just gotta weather the storm. He's just gotta hold the fort down. At the end of the day, Mac Jones just has to be a game manager, man. That's it. We'll see. I think he played good for us in the training camp and preseason. I think Mac was okay. I don't think he was bad. I think he's going to be a good backup. And all you want out of your backup is to come in, manage the game, and probably give you some wins. So we'll see. We shall see. I think it's going to be tough. My man Danny says, I like Mike White. He makes goofy throws, but is a dog. He is pretty good. He was actually good for a stretch there with the Jets. I think he's a good, solid QB3. He's nothing to write home about, but he started games before. It's, he knows Mr. Bob Saleh. He knows him. He coached under him. So I feel like he has a good rapport there with the team. Will kind of know what to expect a little bit because I'm sure Saleh will kind of debrief them and say, hey, look, this is what his abilities are. And it's good. He knows some of the coaches, so it's not like stranger, that much of a stranger. So I don't know. I think Mike White would be a solid QB3 option there. So how many starters are out total, says Christine? Well, you got Brandon Ayuk is out. We got Demarcus Robinson's out. I wouldn't necessarily say he's a starter, but he's one of your top 3 receivers right now. You got George Kittle is going to be out. And you got Brock Purdy out. That's 4. Am I missing anybody? I think that's pretty much it right now. So the main 2 big ones, though, Brock Purdy and George Kittle are going to be out this Sunday, most likely. So it's tough news, tough sledding. My man Big Brick says, at least we won't be at risk of losing games due to Moody anymore. Oh, yeah, Malik Mustafa. Good call, Mike Rush. Mustafa, yeah, good call. That's another one. Yeah, at least we won't be losing games because of Moody. Now, Eddie Pinheiro, the new kicker, he came in. He says, so he said, this is pretty crazy. So Eddie Pinheiro says that he was choosing between Atlanta or the 49ers. Obviously, the Atlanta Falcons have a kicking need. Young-Ho Ko, Young-Ho Koo, Young-Ho Chu, whatever you want to call his name is. Young-Ho, the Young-Ho out there in Atlanta was kind of selling for them. He missed a game-winning field goal, a potential game-winning field goal in the closing seconds against the Buccaneers. And the Falcons were like, immediately, we're having tryouts. We're going to bring in a new kicker, this, that. And Eddie P, he was going to go and probably sign with either the Falcons or the 49ers, and he chose the 49ers. They asked him why, and he says, I want to win games. I want to be a part of a good culture. I'm in my 8th year of my career and want to win. He wants to win, and he knows the 49ers can win games. So that's what he says. He played for some bad teams over the years. You know, he wants to win some games, man. He played for the Carolina Panthers, for Christ's sakes. The Jets, played for the Colts, the Bears. He has not played for good winning franchises. So Falcons could be a good team this year, but they haven't really done much either. So at least if you look side by side, 49ers and Falcons, you're like, okay, well, who has had the better team over the last couple of years? Probably going to go with the 49ers. So if I want to win, I'll go with the 49ers. So I like that. He said that. It's off to a good start, man. Eddie P, bro, like, let's go, man. He's saying all the right things. You love to see it. You love to hear it. And he is officially wearing number 18, baby. He's wearing 18. He did not choose the number 4. Thank God he didn't choose the number 4, the most cursed number right now. Because Jake Wood, can you imagine if he wore 4? It just would have been weird. I'm glad he has 18. Change it up. Give me new vibes. We got a new era. And speaking of kicker, speaking of Jakester, the Jakester, he cleared waivers. Kyle Shanahan basically talked about the mental game and why his performance, was not great. He blamed it pretty much on he lost his confidence. Kyle Shanahan says he lost his confidence. It was all mental. And they asked him, what do you think? What was the question? Let me pull this up real quick. Sorry, let me pull this up. They asked Kyle Shanahan on about cutting Moody. He kept it pretty simple. He says it wasn't much of a decision. I mean, wow, you can't be more 100 than that. He says it wasn't much of a decision. He says, at the end of the day, if you're missing kicks and you're getting all these extra chances and you continue to miss, it's simple. You have to do what you got to do. He says, I wish him good luck and, all the best to him, all that rah-rah. He says, I wish him good luck. But at the end of the day, man, you gotta make these kicks, and we were gonna potentially lose games because of it. So Kyle kept it 100 on him, and he says, I hope he does good. He says he's a good guy, and he doesn't, he just hopes that he has a hell of a career after this and finds his swag, and he goes to a team that can help him. And I think that's the right thing. That's the right mindset. I don't wish any ill will on Jake Moody, but it was time to go. It was an easy decision. He really was selling games, and you can't keep a kicker that's going to keep on potentially losing games, especially when you have all these injuries. When you don't have your quarterback, you don't have your number 1 receiving option in George Kittle, it makes it hard to win. Now you have a kicker that can't make kicks. It's an even bigger liability. So unfortunate for Jake Moody. It was time for him to go. So what happened to Adrian Martinez? Good question. Adrian Martinez, did they put him on the practice squad or cut him a few weeks ago? Maybe not. Maybe they're going to cut Adrian Martinez and pick up Mike White, because I think Adrian Martinez was just there for, practice squad purposes. And if they absolutely need a quarterback to come in, I think they'd be happier with Mike White. He's probably more prepared than Adrian Martinez. So it's probably what happened. But I don't remember. Did they waive him? Let me see. Let me see. Let me take a look. Let me go through my updates. There's been so many updates over the last couple of weeks. Martinez. I'm gonna pull this up. I'm gonna search him up. Adrian Martinez. They signed him to the practice squad. You know what? Honestly, they haven't released them yet, from what I understand. So my guess is they're gonna release. This is my guess. They're gonna release Martinez, and they'll probably sign a Mike White. That's my guess. Pure speculation. So. My man Danny says Kyle just hates being wrong. Dude is beyond egotistical. I love him though. Far better memories than Chip and Tom Sula. Yeah, that was bad times. I mean, yeah, Kyle wants to be right. He wanted to be right. He wanted to keep giving him chances. So he told the story. I don't know if you guys saw his press conference today, but it was actually interesting. He says, you know, when it's time to go, it's time to go. And he, you know, part of the decision to keep him was he remembers back in when he was with Washington, they had a kicker and he was missing kicks, game-winning kicks. And Kyle went up to the coaches, look, dude, we got to get rid of this guy. He's going to cost us games. And then, you know, they kept him. And then eventually he cost him another game. He said, I told you so. So they did get rid of him. He went on the next year to be a Pro Bowler and have a good career. And the rest is history, right? That's what he says. He goes, you know, at the same time, like the coach told him, you know, he's a good kicker. Sometimes it takes him a little time to get their feet under him and develop and blah, 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 blah. And so they kept him and then he lost them games. And I feel like Kyle remembers the kicker they had in Washington and how, okay, when they finally did get rid of him and he went to another team, he became great. And I feel like Kyle feared that. Like, man, if we release Jake Moody and then he becomes great somewhere else, he's going to look stupid. Like, oh, we should have just kept through with him. But I do agree with what he said is he lost his confidence. At some point, when you lose your confidence, it's just got to go, man. And I think that is why they ultimately said, all right, we like you. I hope you end up doing good somewhere, but it's time for you to go here because you're going to cost us games. And that's it. Parted ways. And again, maybe he will figure it out, but he needs a fresh start. Jake Moody needed a fresh start for his career. So let's see. Is the bar set high for Eddie P? I mean, not necessarily. He just got to make his field goals, man. I mean, that's your job as a kicker. Go in and make your kicks. Now, if Eddie P makes his kicks and he starts winning games for us and he's like doing good, bro, everybody's gonna love Eddie P. Like Eddie P jerseys might be a hot ticket, I'm telling you, because Jake Moody was so hated by this fan base. It unified everybody. What I was saying yesterday was everybody on the timeline just kind of came together. It was like kumbaya, world peace type vibes. And if Eddie P goes out there and he slings it and he just has a great time with the Niners, kicking field goals left and right, game winners, we're going to love him. I mean, people are going to be like, that's our guy. Remember Robbie Gold? Like, that's why people love Robbie, because he was consistent and you can count on him. He'd hit game winners. It was like, man, he was automatic. And if that's what Eddie P does, people are going to love this guy. MSQ says he was defending Moody all this time and it was for nothing. He says, Eddie P to the moon. Eddie P to the moon, baby. I want him to do good. Big Brick says, part of me wonders if they kept giving Moody chances because they rushed him back from the high ankle sprain and they wanted to help him make it right. Possibly. I mean, he did. I mean, I saw that video Dylan posted yesterday on Twitter, and I mean, that ankle was bad. His ankle twisted, and I'm sure that had an impact on his career because he never was the same. But at the same time, it's their fault for if they brought him back too early. I don't know. Maybe he lost his confidence when he got his ankle sprain because maybe he was in a lot of pain and he was like stressed out and frustrated and he felt pressured. But at the end of the day, it's just time to go because you're not going to keep missing kicks, and fans were outraged, man. So, yeah, defendant says, how many misses will we allow him before we turn on him? This could go one of two ways. Either Eddie P becomes like the next Robbie Gold and we love him and he's like a fan favorite. Oh my God, Eddie P, he's the man. Or he misses kicks and we absolutely hate this guy and we want him off the roster. There's one or two ways. There's no in between. You either make your damn kicks or you miss them. If you miss them, the fan base hates you. If you make them, they love you. That's the job. It's a tough, being a kicker sounds like a tough job, actually. California man says, will Mike White fit into Kyle Shanahan's scheme and offensive system? I think maybe he will because Robert Saleh is going to tell him he will. That's his guy from the Jets. But I feel like Saleh, had a similar, maybe he had some similar vibes in his offensive scheme. But again, he was a defensive guy. So I feel like it's just more of a, hey, I know this guy. I used to coach him. He's available. Let's give him a shot. I feel like that's kind of what this signing would be if they get Mike White. So Robbie's a legend. Yeah, but he's coaching now. He's doing his thing. He wanted out. He wants to coach. He's coaching high school now. So Danny says, does Kyle take a punter or a kicker in the third round next draft? I swear, if he does, Niner fans are not going to be happy. So we'll be very, very mad. Let's take a look at the rest of this injury report today that was out earlier. So real quick, a lot of veteran days off. So you had Juwan Jennings, he was not practicing with the shoulder. Christian McCaffrey had a vet day. And he says his cap it feels great, all that good stuff. Trent Williams had a vet day. Nick Bosa had a vet day. Yetur Gross-Matos had a knee issue, so he didn't practice today. I don't think it was anything serious. They're just being very careful with Yetur Gross-Matos there. He had a pretty good game according to the metrics. So we'll see how he continues to go. But this is the actual San Francisco at New Orleans day one injury report of the week. So Ben Barch, limited participant. Nick Bosa did not participate. Again, rest player. Luke Gifford, full participant. I guess he has a knee issue. Yetur Gross-Matos, knee, did not participate. Jordan James, finger, limited participation. Juwan Jennings, shoulder, did not participate. Mac Jones, knee, full participation. Christian McCaffrey, non-injury related, resting player. He did not participate. Dominic Pooney, knee, full participation. Brock Purdy, left shoulder, toe, did not participate. Jordan Watkins, ankle, limited participation. Trent Williams, rest day, veteran. So as you can see, most of the players got a vet day. Brock Purdy did not practice today. And again, that's going to be a big topic for the rest of this week. Will Brock Purdy play? Probably not, according to Kyle. And we're going to see how many games he actually misses. So we'll see. I think CMC earned a little bit of a rest there. 31 touches, Kyle. You better let him rest in practice. Come on, man. I hope they give the ball to some of these other running backs a little bit on Sunday against the Saints. But we'll see. At the end of the day, the Niners, they're going to be without Brock Purdy most likely. I think they could weather the storm and beat the Saints, but it will not be easy. 10 o'clock early morning game. Man, I hate waking up that early for a game and being ready and just getting dialed in. It's tough. I need a couple hours to kind of get into the groove, have a little coffee. Man, I'm going to be up and got to be ready in game mode before the birds come out. So in any case, you guys have a good rest of your day. I love you, Niners. Let's see what happens the rest of the week of practice. And again, no Brock Purdy in practice, and he probably is going to miss Sunday's game. And unfortunately, will probably miss a couple of weeks. But we'll see. Let's hope that Mac Jones can hold it down and win some games without Brock. You guys have a good rest of your day. I love you. If we get any breaking news, we'll be back. Maybe Mike White. Love you. Have a good night. Go Niners.